Good morning.
How are we both on mute? Awesome.
No
How are
idea.
you doing this morning?
Doing well. Doing well.
I have a lot of shiny on my face, so I need to move that. um, yeah, Michael, it's Experience Friday Live again, and
It
we have
is.
an
It's what it
exciting
is.
guest today. But want to talk through a couple things and just give some heads up on what's happening. Next show will be December 2nd, and it's around creating the human experience with Keith Pyro from JLL. He's actually the director of human experience. So we're really excited to have him part. And then just a sneak peek, if you want to know more about it, reach out to us. But next year, February, we are hosting Experience, the Ultimate Immersion Unconference in Las Vegas. And our guest today is going to be there with us as well. So we're really excited about that. Hey, Michael, tell everyone why we do what we do and why we keep doing this show. It's been over a year and we're still doing it.
We are still doing it. And, I think we've got this culture of folks who get it and understand the importance of it. And for those who don't, we do this because if you want to exist in 5-10 years from now, you got to get on the experience train. It's not just a trend that's going to be a flash and a go. It's what's happening next. And so if you want to get left behind, stay what you're doing, stay status quo. If you want to just stay competitive at all, you got to get on the train, and not the stupid check the box train, but the real transformational train. And then if you actually want to get ahead, you really have to do some work. But if you just want to stay status quo 5 years from now, you got to join us.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, Michael. And I am so excited that we have Matteo with us. And we're going to talk about lots of stuff. But I love creating moments of amazement, is what we talked about. And Mateo's passion is to create elevating experiences for all involved, external customers, meaning patients, business partners, and so on, and internal customers, which we love, Michael, part of the
Mm-hmm.
experience ecosystem. He
Mm-hmm.
believes in building a successful patient experience from within, focusing on growing a strong and committed team that behaves upon the company's core values, using them as tools to achieve the higher purpose and
Mm-hmm.
fulfill the company vision. And without further ado, we are going to bring Matteo to the stage.
Hi,
There we
guys.
go.
Hi,
Hey,
Good
hi,
morning.
buddy.
Tom.
Uh,
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This is going to
well,
be so much fun.
yeah, thank you. And listen, we got people listening in today from Florida.
Oh, Annette. Yes,
Yes, Annette. You know Annette.
I know. Yeah, she's my LinkedIn pal.
There
Yes.
you go. We have Southern Connecticut, Dallas, and Ohio. And who's already sent in a question, which we'll come back to here as we get into it. Well, Matteo, like we met you a few months ago and we've become instant friends and instant passion around the same stuff. And we ask everyone the very same question when we launch this show. And it is simply this: why do you do what you do? And what keeps you motivated as you do it? Let
All
us
right. Amazing. Amazing. I love the question because you need to start with why, right? We're taught that. We know that. That's the best way to start. So I'm going to try to make it a little quicker for you guys. There's a story behind why I do what I do. About 12 years ago, I was a different person. I was in a different industry. I was a fashion photographer and commercial photographer. And also 12 years ago, I and my husband adopted our daughter. And at that time, I realized I can't raise my daughter in that industry because I wouldn't be able to teach her the values that I really want to teach her. So I told my husband, who's a pediatrician, healthcare business, keep your job. I'll stay home with our daughter, and I'll raise the daughter. And about 15 months into it, I was ready to go back into the workforce. And I thought I'm going to just be back in the creative world, but behind the scenes, not in front of the camera or not with the camera, right? And at that point, my husband, who was working in a hospital, and also for the clinic for the hospital, just couldn't take it anymore. So he came to me and said, I am tired because of all the politics around, and also because I feel that I can't establish relationships. Ding, ding. This is going to be the hashtag for today. Relationships with my patients. I feel like I'm like a revolving door and I see whoever comes through the door. And I only have a handful of these families that I really am connected with. So he said, I want to open my own business. I want to open my own private practice. Do you want to do it with me? I'm like, yeah, of course. We did everything else together. Let's do this. Now, of course, I had no experience. I knew nothing about healthcare. So, but I knew how to put together a business, right? But at that point, when we started the company in 2012, the only format I had in mind was the experience that I had in the healthcare business. So we started the company with the usual doctor's office, right? There you go. There you have it. It was the only differentiator, though, was that we were clear that what we were going to bring to the table was relationships, which was different from everybody else around us. We started the company in 2012 with around 300 charts, 300 patients. And 18 months later, we had 3,000, which is a good problem to have. That's a huge jump for a small, tiny company like ours, right? And the problem that we faced at that time was, how do we scale and still keep the promise of delivering experiences, but on the base that we are creating relationships with everyone, right? So at that point, I had to learn, not just on the job, but I had to learn. So I dove into books, and I stumbled around 2014 into Delivering Happiness by the great and late, unfortunately, Tony Hsieh. And I immediately felt a connection with that book, with Tony's message, his vision. And I thought, this is what's going to work for my company. So I decided I'm going to train myself on all of this, company culture and the link between company culture, a great team, and delivering amazing experiences. Now, of course, I found out that I could be trained in person by Zappos. So I went there to their in-person at that time. Yay. I did it 3 times because I loved it so much. But I also made the decision that I was not going to train myself within the healthcare industry. I did not want to hear what everybody else was doing. I said, I'm going to go outside of the industry and see what everybody else is doing. That's when, my friends, I fell in love with patient experience, and I fell in love with company culture and the combination of both. And that is when I realized, here is my why. Here's my mission. My why and mission is to change the way that healthcare is experienced by everyone involved, one relationship at a time. So there you have it.
I love it. Like, I almost feel like we can go, okay, drop the mic, and we're done for the day. So powerful, Matteo. So you actually had a time where you gave a quote in the Huffington Post. Yeah. And I love this, and I want to dive into it, and then Michael will start taking over and just talking through it. But you gave a quote that said, when I created my community while building my company, I didn't know they were going to eventually save me from failure.
Yes.
So we have to read that again. Because I think, when I created my community while building my company, I didn't know they were going to eventually save me from failure. Can you tell us?
Yeah, I can.
Why is that quote so important to you?
Yeah. I have chills, I have to tell you, because every time I tell the story, I am brought back to a state of anxiety that I experienced during the pandemic. So what happened was this. As I told you, since we made the switch in 2015 to a people company first, right? People first. And we made the switch to company culture and really working on the team and building the company from the inside out, from within. What happened next was that we kept capturing signs that we were building actually a community around us. So one of the first signs in the couple of years after 2015 was that our community started referring to us not as South Slope Pediatrics, which is the name of the company, but as SSP. So we picked up on that and we started using it as well within the company. And then that became SSP families. And then that became SSP community. So we gathered that the patients that we were attracting, but also the patients that we were allowing to join the SSP community, they felt that they were part of something bigger than themselves. We still are very active in the local community. We take care of our people, our team, our community, our patients, but also we go outside of that. And just this past week, we were asked by our community to help someone, a family that doesn't belong to the SSP community, but is in trouble. And we were able to facilitate a fundraiser for this family who lost this mom, who lost her partner and has children. So we figured out we have created something bigger than the company. We have created a community that cares, a community that feels like they belong. So the real sign, though, came when the company was in trouble. As you know, during the pandemic, 2020, we all went through that. And you know, guys, what happened during the pandemic for the healthcare sector and small practices like my practice. In 2020, we all thought we were going to get out of the pandemic within 2 to 3 months, 4 months, maybe 6 at one point, right? So our company was still paying all the big bills, right? And then at one point we saw a drop in visits, which is how unfortunately we get reimbursed by the insurance companies, right? And we thought, okay, a couple of months we can deal with this. And at one point we realized when things got really serious, remember the beginning of the pandemic, that at one point we only had about 4 weeks left of payrolls. And that was it. So the company was really in trouble. And I didn't hide it. I'm not hiding it. I will never hide it. I will talk about this story all the time. I am not ashamed of anything. But seriously, I was at a point where I had to make a decision. Do I hide everything from everybody? Everything is fine, guys. Don't worry. We will wait for the PPP loan, which, by the way, you remember the big trouble with that. And that's how, unfortunately, I ended up on the Huffington Post talking about this story, because the PPP loan didn't come through. It was a mess at the beginning. We all know. So we knew, though, that two things counted. One is people first. So we, my husband and I, decided we are going to go unpaid until we can get paid. But everybody else on the team, those families, they need it. So they're going to get their full salary. We also decided we're going to be transparent with the community, with everybody, vendors, business partners, patients, teams. And we're going to tell them exactly what's happening. So we sent out a video to our patients, telling them exactly what it was, and saying, we all know that some of you lost their job. So if you have bills that you can't pay, you can't pay. That's fine. But if you have a balance and you can pay even the $3 that Aetna is asking for the vision test as your copay, if you can, that will really help us, because this, and this. This is where we are. So we knew what we were doing. We knew that we could have faced either a backlash, meaning everybody left, there's no more money, and we'll close the door in 2 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. Patients would leave, vendors would come at us for the bills, or the team will disappear. Or we were ready for that. Or we were hoping, we can get through this. We just need a little bridge. Whatever I was thinking, nothing of that happened. But what happened is that my community, we went live on Instagram. We do Instagram live to educate, but also to be in touch with our community. And during the live explaining, I said in that video that I sent via email, I said, we're going to go live on Instagram. And the reason why we're going live is to answer all your questions, because I know that this is huge. So we're going to answer all your questions. How many days we have left, what you can do, where you can get seen. The response was completely different. During the Instagram live, everybody was just commenting, okay, what can we do to figure this out? They did not want SSP to disappear, which to me, on that day, I couldn't even think about, saying yes to this, but it was so humbling. But it told me that what we believed in building a community, here we go. This is the why. Not because the community is going to save you, but because the community has your back and you have theirs. And that's the most important message. In April 2020, I had my my very first anxiety attack. And I didn't know what that felt like until I was shaken. My body was shaking. And it was the time that I was making that decision. But at that point also, it was clear to me that what's important is people. So take care of your people, take care of yourself, and everything else will come. So the person that is not here anymore, Tony Shea, who I met just a couple of times, we were not friends, we never had dinner. I met him in person at the training and we talked briefly. He is the person that really changed everything for me, because had I not stumbled into his book and into his vision, I would have not been able to create a community that at the end of the day saved my business.
Another mic drop moment. Michael, I see your wheels turning.
Right. So, powerful story. Thank you. You are not the only person to ever have been on this ledge of making a really scary business decision and needing to choose between people or transactions or saving yourself or saving others or business or any of those things, right?
Right.
What advice do you have for others who are just scared to their inner being like you were, but they go a different direction? And we know plenty of people who choose to go different directions other than people first, right?
Yeah.
What advice do you have in that scary moment?
Yeah. So this is true for any industry. It's not just for healthcare. This is true for anywhere you guys are. If you're watching, just honesty in general should be a core value that we're born with, first of all. Nobody teaches us really to be honest. We are born that way, but we learn not to be because society or because we feel ashamed sometimes. So to me, honesty comes first. Whenever whatever is happening, I tell everybody I'm an open book in general. That's how I was born and raised. But with my team, with my people, with my patients, honestly, and I mean the truth is the only thing that you can say. There's no other way. There's just no other way. And there's nothing to be ashamed of, period.
Well, Matteo, I will tell you a little bit of a similar story. I had my first panic attack, anxiety attack, the summer of 2020. Very similar story. So thank you for sharing that. And we actually believe we call it mental wellness, not mental health, right? Like,
yes.
How do we take that? And I think that ties in so beautifully to creating these moments of experience, because how you have created such powerful moments of experience is you've built a community. Yeah. And Michael and I are actually in Chicago in another community that's been built, and we'll talk about it at some point. I just, I want to, and this is a question for you. How can we connect at a human level with others if we can't remember how to be human ourselves, right? Like, what's your advice to that?
Yeah, that's exactly what was in my thought this week. I think that the business-wise, for a business, the solution is to incorporate humanity into your core values. And you just don't write it on the wall, be human or be kind or be honest. You actually have to perform it. You have to live it. You have to be it so that your teammates will do the same. Period. There's no other way. You can, to me, again, just talking about business, right? You can ignore the fact that your company already has a culture, or you can own it and take control over the behaviors that you want to see at work. And these behaviors, once you establish a culture, I like to tell everybody we need to teach also the community about it. It's not just an internal thing. Be humble is one of our core values. It's not just one value for us. We expect that our community behaves the same way. This is why, for example, we have a mandatory meet and greet before any patient can join the SSP community. They have to, yes, they have to attend the meet and greet, where we explain not just all the logistics, the transactions, but we actually spend time telling them these are our core values. They represent behaviors you can expect from us, but it's a two-way street. We expect the same from you. And we could and we will terminate our relationship if there's an infringement of those values. The same way that we will terminate an employee that doesn't walk the walk and behave according to the values. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I don't have my pom-poms because I'm not at home, or I'd be shaking pom-poms. So like I'll do jazz hands or like finger snaps, right? Because we, Michael and I at Mofi in our team, we say up front, and I love the fact I have never heard a doctor do that type of meet and greet, first off. So I think that is a total radical transformation in healthcare. Mm-hmm. But we've always said we're not for everybody and everybody's not for us.
Right.
And that's really hard to walk away from when you start putting dollar amounts to it.
That's fine. But follow your passion, follow your vision, the money will follow. There's no other way. Because you're going to attract the same type of people with the same mindset that aligns with your values and your vision, and they will bring in their friends with the same values and the same vision. So you don't need everybody. You just need the right people.
And I guess my takeaway / question in all of this, like big picture question, is the importance of having that foundation, that grounding before you jump into the business, right? Mm-hmm. And the question along with that is, well, where does that come from? And how do you know that you truly have that foundation before you proceed? And it's true for starting a business, but it's also true for starting a new position, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to start a new position in a company, whether it's C-suite or a managerial position, of where are my values that I will remain true to in the face of a pandemic, in the face of drama, in the face of others around me making toxic decisions or exhibiting toxic behavior. So how do you stay true to that as you navigate whatever position you're in? Because what you said was, in that moment of oh crap, the deep level of pain and anxiety. Well, we go back to our foundation of people first. Like it or not, that brought us to the dance. We're going to keep dancing with that partner, right? We're going to keep going. But how do you get grounded in the right things? Because it's more than just a value system. It's more than a core values, right? This is my core values. Boom, boom, boom. Bullshit. Like what truly is in your DNA as a leader, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a person who is going to influence other people.
Yeah. So just quickly going back to that moment of the decision was hard to make, but it was clear as well, because we looked at what we believe in, and those are our values, and there was no other option for us, right? But yes, core values are nice and cute to look at, right? But the thing is that working on the values and the culture is never done. So that baseline that you're talking about shifts all the time. There's no way that you're going to know at any time, oh, we have arrived, because the moment you think that, you are failing. It's a constant progression. It's a constant work on these values. And this is why I think most companies don't even bother about it, because it's so much work. But is it worth it? I think I explained why it is worth it, because my team worked through the pandemic with a smile on their faces, terrified, like we all were, but with a smile on their face, knowing we're going to go together through this. Imagine going to work knowing I'm going to go to work solving problems with these amazing people every day. How lucky am I?
Like, you just keep giving us like mic drop moments here. Yeah, so wow. And we could keep going on, but unfortunately we're at the close of the half hour. But always go out. If you're on LinkedIn, go follow Matteo. He puts some amazing fun videos out for the community. Love it.
Hey, and before we get to the very end, I feel like for the first time ever, we can have a Who Wore It Better haircut version.
I know
that doesn't happen very often. So if all the listeners who would go ahead and put in the chat, who wears it better, Sean or Matteo?
I think Sean does, honestly.
What's funny is we even are wearing the same glasses too. We're just twin brothers.
Maybe I'll grow my mustache.
There you go, grow that, and then they can tell us. Definitely.
When we met you, I'm like, there's another person that looks like Sean today. This is amazing. What's happening here? So
I love this last thing that Annette put out there for us. I wish more business leaders understood that culture work pays off in such a terrific way.
That's great, isn't it? Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's our heart. That's why we love you so much, and everything. And look at Matteo. You got to vote.
There we go.
Vote
one up for Matteo.
Maria,
and that's going with Matteo too.
Yeah, and that's going with Matteo too. So I may have to step up my game now. I'm telling you.
I mean, don't feel bad, Sean. These are my LinkedIn pals, and I love them.
Well, Sean might have some color by the end of the day in that.
That's right.
So.
Listen, I don't want, because I think people need to get to know you more personally. And those that are listening, I said it at the beginning. You'll see the ticker down here. Join us in February. Matteo's going to be there, and you're going to get to hear more from him. I hit the wrong button. See, I hit the wrong button. Experience the Ultimate Immersion Unconference. You can go to experiencevegas2023.com and request an invite to come to the event. And we are bringing 50 or 60 people like Matteo, humans, together to blow up shit. So thank you, Matteo, for being here. If you will hang out for a little bit, Michael and I will close up the show, and then we'll come back and say bye to you as well. So just hang out.
Thank you, guys. It was fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Michael, I'm not going to ask you what I normally do. What are you going to do this weekend? Michael and I are spending the weekend with about 600 college students. And we won't tell you anymore, but if you want to know what we're doing, go out on LinkedIn, because there might be some live LinkedIn going on, or some videos over the weekend. But thank you guys for your support. As always, remember, you can go to SeanNason.com or to mofi.co. You can send us an email. We just wrapped up our season of the Combustion Chronicles, so go back and listen to that season. We'll launch that new season as well in January. So, Michael, let's go have some fun with college students, and
I'm stoked.
Get really tired. So we'll see you all on December 2nd for the next show.